Greetings in Jesus' wonderful name and welcome to Riverside Chats. I began a series on prosperity as exemplified in the life of Jacob, one of the patriarchs of the Jewish nation. We'll focus today on how hard work will help us to be successful. I maintain God does not bless hands, but always blesses the work of our hands. Jacob worked hard. He worked hard for his father-in-law. He made his father-in-law extremely rich. You see, his father-in-law was his uncle. And sometimes relatives will take advantage of you. Sometimes when you work for relatives, they don't give you benefits. They take advantage of you. It's quite different if you work for your dad and your dad is teaching you all the jobs in the business and he treats you as a worker, but you're a son and one day you can inherit everything. There's good design in that. A son needs to know all the ropes about the business. But sometimes relatives or uncles and aunts, and they will take advantage of you. They would want to become rich at your expense. In Proverbs 14 and 23, the Bible declares, all hard work brings profit, but more talk only leads to poverty. Some people, all they want to do is talk, 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 talk. They talk about others. They grumble. I had a dad who worked extremely hard. He would work overtime every opportunity he had because he wanted a better life for his children. My dad always spoiled me with the best of clothes. He was not wealthy, but I remember growing up, the suits he bought me was always 100% wool. And that's why I like wool suits 100% still. He trained me well. He wanted a good life for his children. He gave us the best. But he worked extremely hard. And my children, they'll work extremely hard. They'll work overtime. Some of them work tough jobs. The money's good, but they work tough jobs. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. You gotta work hard. All work brings profit, but more talk only leads to poverty, said the great Solomon in Proverbs 14 and 23. In Proverbs 21 and 5, the Bible says, good planning and hard work leads to prosperity. I heard someone say, if you fail to plan, you will plan to fail. If you fail to plan, you will plan to fail. Good planning and hard work leads to prosperity. Hasty shortcuts leads to poverty. Boeing, the great airplane maker, was one of the greatest airplane manufacturers of all time. They do a lot of work for the United States military. But they implemented some hasty shortcuts of late. They wanted profit over safety, and they are paying the price for it. Their rivals, Airbus, the European company, seem to be doing better right now. Just today they announced that they chose a woman to become the CEO of the commercial division. And someone commented, when men mess it up, they call a woman to set it straight. But she's tenured. She comes from inside. She don't come from outside. She knows the Boeing company very well. Now, I'm hoping, I like Boeing. They've made some great aircraft. The 747 was known as the Queen of the Skies, and she's still one of the best aircrafts ever made. Air Force One still is a 747, but it is modified. And there are two of them, so you don't know which one the president is on every time they fly. You see, nothing comes easy. You get out of it what you put into it. Now, Boeing's problems came because of one plane. And that's the MAX. I forget its full name right now. I went blank there. I'm not confessing Alzheimer's. Someone said, well, maybe you got part-timers. That's a joke. I have the mind of Christ and my mind is strong. I've got my mind made up. So don't be scared of dementia or anything like that. You have the mind of Christ. I have the mind of Christ. God has not given me a spirit of fear and timidity, but that of boldness and a sound mind. It is important that we have a good work ethic. God said he will bless Jacob, but Jacob had to work hard. God said he would give the land of Canaan as an inheritance to Israel, but they had to go and possess the land. That meant they had to fight for the land. You know, we make a big deal about war as if war is so bad. I'm not advocating war, but the Bible is so full of war. God is a man of war. He presents himself as a man of war. Man of war is not as a horse that won the Kentucky Derby, although there was a horse named Man of War. But God is a man of war. He's the Lord Sabaoth. He's the Lord of the armies of heaven and earth. And Israel had been a fighting nation. They had to fight their enemies to survive. You know, after their independence, the Arabic countries proclaimed war on Israel. The small new nation fought hard with all of their might. And beyond all odds, God gave them the victory over all of their nations. America helped. America knows if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. Israel is the apple of God's eye, and Christians are included in Israel. We've been grafted in. Israel means prince with God. God said he will bless Jacob, but Jacob had to work hard. Now, look at how Jacob, by his own testimony, declares how hard he worked. In Genesis 31:6, the Bible says, you know that I have worked hard for your father with all of my strength. Jacob is talking to his wives. He says, I've worked hard for your father, but your father robbed me. You see, Jacob was a supplanter. He got back what he gave his brother Esau. But God loved him through it all, because Esau was not deserving of the blessing. Esau was weak. You know, you look at Jacob and you think, well, he was just mama's boy. He was just around his mama. And we look at mama's boys as being, weak physically, but not Jacob. Jacob says in Genesis 30:36, you know how much work I have done for you. Talking to Laban. In Genesis 31:40, he says, this was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime, the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. You know how long Jacob worked for Laban? 20 long years. I love to work. Now, people say, are you going to retire? Well, I guess I'm in kind of retirement because since the beginning of this year, I am on I'm on Social Security. I didn't work a long time in America, so I don't make a whole lot for Social Security, but I'm thankful for what I get. This is my second month of Social Security. Actually, I got my check this evening. It came into the account. Now, for the next 2 years, I can only work for a limited amount of time. I can only work and make $22,000. But God is awesome. I love to work. I still work. Instead of working at school for 180 days in the year, I can only work for about 110. There's no prosperity without work. One of my pastor friends, Pastor Alvin, he was just like me, bivocational. He worked most of his life. Just before he died, he was called to a church, so that was the only time he was working full time for the church. We all work full time for the church, but we do other jobs. Since I came to America 30 years ago, I've been working. I've been subbing in the schools. It helps facilitate what I do. It helps me to be in the marketplace, to be a witness for Christ. I don't witness and tell people about Jesus all the time, but they know who I am. The kids know I have my own YouTube channel, and sometimes they're so naughty, they play my video in class, and then I'm hearing myself somewhere, and they say, oh, I'm a subscriber. We're reaching many young people. God is awesome. He is wonderful. Remember, work is important. Work hard with your hands, and God will prosper you like Jacob did. God bless you and love ya.